Hello everyone, I am Dr. Nisha Kumari, Assistant Professor at School of Business Aditya University. Today we are going to discuss about empathy research method. As we discussed in the previous class regarding the design thinking, so the first step of the design thinking was the empathize. So in further to that particular thing, we are going to discuss the empathy research methods. By the end of this particular lecture, you will be able to achieve the primary learning goals that are identify the different empathy research and data collection method used in design thinking and explain the techniques for analyzing user insights to develop user-centered solutions. Now coming up to the data collection methods which we use to get the data from users, or you can say which we use to understand the users, which we use to understand their pain points, the challenges or the barriers they are facing through like in a particular scenario or the environment. We collect the data through different methods. So first one is one-on-one interview. In that particular one-on-one interview, either we are preparing the structured questionnaire, semi-structured questionnaire, or you can say that semi-structured and unstructured. So when we talk about the structured one, in this all the questions will be close-ended. Means if you're asking how you're feeling, so either that person will give answer in the yes or no, or if you're giving the Likert say that I'm very happy, unsatisfactory, satisfactory, these kind of scales, or you can say the closed-ended questions we will ask. When we talk about the semi-structured questionnaire, here we are going to give them closed-ended questions as well as open-ended questions. For example, how you're feeling, good or bad. Then they will give the answer good or either bad. And then based on that thing, we are going to follow another question, why you are feeling good or why you are feeling bad. So here the answer will be all together in a paragraph, or you can say that open, where the users are going to tell you how they are feeling and why they are feeling in that particular manner. So that thing kind will come under your semi-structured questionnaire. When we talk about the unstructured questionnaire, where we are just going to note down these are the particular points or these are the topics which we want to cover during the conversation with the person or the users, and we will try to focus our entire interview to be in and around those particular topics, but the answers and the options given to the users will be altogether open. Then next, when we talk about the second one is observation. In observation, what happens? We are not going to interfere the users, or we are not going to directly show them that we want to know something from you. What will be happening? The entire scenario is going to happen, and from far, or you can say as the participant of that particular scenario, we are going to observe each and every particular person, and we are going to try to understand why they are behaving in a certain way and what is the reason behind of these things. For example, if we take we are going to the hospitals, correct? So in the hospital, what happens? In starting, we have to take the receipt to get the appointment, or you can say to meet the doctor. So while we are standing in the queue, you will feel there are some certain people who are breaking the queue and they are trying to come forward. Or sometimes what happen, for the 5 minutes they stood, but after 5 minutes go and they will go and sit on the nearby benches or the chairs. Why? So again, we will be able to understand these why they are behaving in a certain way when we are going to observe the entire scenario or the entire manner. So later part we can identify, okay, that particular person was having some kind of knee pain or back pain, or their health is was worse than what they were thinking, so that's why they can't stand more than 5 minutes. So they went and they sat on the chair. Some people are having emergency, that's why they cut the queue and they came in the forward. So all those things we are able to identify by observing the people, by becoming the participant, you can say, or by becoming the part of that particular scenario. Then our next one is user persona. In user persona, what happens? We are going to maintain, or we are going to ask the things to the users or to the person in a manner where we are going to get each and every detail of them in the starting, and later part we are going to understand whatever their pain points they are facing, or whatever the, like when you say, the challenges or the barriers they are facing, and what are their own preferences. So for example, you can see in the image, as you can see in the image here, Priya Sharma, 28, product manager, Bangalore, India. So in starting, what happened in the user persona, we are going to give the detail of the particular person, and then I want solution that save time and make my work easier. So that is the statement given by the user, that what they want and what is the purpose. All those details we are going to list out in that particular persona, along with the challenges or the pain points they are facing. And the last one is your focus group. When we talk about the focus group, in that what will be happening, there will be a group of 8 to 10 people minimum. We are going to sit together, and there will be one person who is going to interact with them. They will be having some certain themes or certain questions which they want to cover during the discussions we are having. So in that, what happens, we get the collective answers, or you can say the responses from the users at a one time. And sometimes what happen, when we are doing these kind of discussions, we are able to relate, or if we are forgetting something, we are able to recall by listening the other person's answer. That's why when we talk about the focus group, here we get the collective responses from the users, and we are able to understand much more in depth through their experiences, through their the scenario they faced. Now, after understanding or after collecting the data by the users, we are going to analyze those data. Now, when we're talking about the analyzing the data, there are some certain methods which we can use to analyze the data. First one is affinity mapping. When we talk about the affinity mapping, in this what happens, we are going to take the sticky notes as you can see in the picture, and we are going to put in, for example, here we are talking about the task. So whatever the things which we got, the data we got related to the task, we are going to stick those notes under the particular task category. When we talk about whatever the challenges they faced, so we will put the challenges, and under those challenges also, whether it's a financial or whether it's your, can we say that social, or whether it's some kind of family, whatever kind of challenges they are facing, whatever the reasons we identify, we are going to mention in that particular thing. So in affinity mapping, we do nothing but we stick all the nodes in a particular theme, or you can say in a particular cluster, to understand or to get the clear understanding of the different user at a one place. Because when we are analyzing the data, it's not like that we are analyzing one particular user's data, we are going to analyze all the users data which we collected. So there we are going to create the themes, and based on those themes we are going to stick the notes, and whatever the statement were given by the users, we are going to stick in the particular theme. Second one is the journey mapping. In journey mapping, what happens, from the beginning, what was the behavior, how the particular user was behaving, how he was doing the things, each and everything, till the end of the journey we are going to observe. And through that entire journey, what was his reaction, what the feel he was having, what kind of experience he or she was having, we are going to map it. For example, if we talk about the again hospital example, so when the person is entering in the hospital and he is going to stand in the queue, so while he is standing in the queue, what he is doing, how he is behaving, and what kind of emotion he is feeling, all those things we are going to observe, and based on that we are going to write. Then second stage of your thing is that after getting the appointment, what will be happening, he has to wait for his turn. So while he is waiting in the waiting hall, again what kind of emotions they are feeling, what kind of pain points they are having, or is some kind of different experience they are facing. After that, third will be the in the journey is meeting the doctor. So while he is interacting with the doctor, what kind of experiences he had, what kind of emotions he had. And after that, he will go to the medication. Again, he has to stand in the line and he has to get the medicines from it. So through that particular journey, what he was doing, and later again exit. So from the beginning, by taking the receipt till the end, getting the medicine, in the entire journey, what are the different steps were there, and in those different steps, what they were feeling, what they were facing, all the things we are going to map in a form of journey. Okay, then the Third one is empathy mapping. In empathy mapping, we create the four quadrants where we are going to talk about what they are thinking and feeling, what they are doing, what they are saying, and the fourth quadrant is that what they are not showing but they are experiencing. So in the think and feel, we will talk about what they want to accomplish and most feel overwhelmed with the too many tasks. So that is some kind of like, if a person is doing so many things or multitasking he is doing, so what will be happening, what he is thinking or what kind of emotions he is feeling while he is doing all those kind of multitasking, correct? When talking about the does means the multitasking which he is doing, and to do that particular work done, what tools he is using. Then saying, so if for example you are talking to a person who's continuously, example your mother at home, they are doing multitasking, they are cooking the for you their lunch boxes, as well as they are preparing the stuff which your father has to take for their office. So they are doing from the morning different tasks at a one place. So while they are doing, and if you are going to ask them, mom, what kind of emotions you are feeling, or what you are feeling, you are every day you are doing this multitasking, so what is your feeling? So what will be happening, they will tell, I am very happy because I am able to do something for my family, correct? But inside we has to understand, while they are doing this kind of multitasking, what are the problems or what are the challenges they are facing, whether there is some kind of health issue is there to her, whether some kind of what we can say physical problem they are having. So these are the, what we can say, the pains they are having, but they are not showing, that we has to understand by doing the empathizing part. So these four quadrants will come here. Then your next one is whys analysis. When we talk about the whys analysis, we try to identify the root cause of the problem and will keep asking the why question until unless we will reach to that particular root cause. So for example, you can see in the screen, why are users not completing the sign up process? So they got the answer because the form is too long and confusing, correct? So then again they ask the question, why is the form long and confusing? Then again we got the answer, because we ask for too much information and upfront. So again, why we are asking so much information and upfront? So by doing this why analysis, what happened, we are able to understand, okay, we are not prioritizing the information which we want really essential to collect, but rather we are making the form longer by asking n number of questions rather than asking just the important questions to the users or the person. So then fifth one is observation coding. In observation coding, what happens, the whatever the data we collected, so in that particular data we are going to give some kind of codes. For example, your community, then for example your behavior, for example your emotions. So in while we are talking, while they are doing the work, while the user is doing some kind of work, what things the observer is observing, he is going to write down those things. And after doing the observation of all the users, they are going to club the information and they are going to put one particular code, and under that code what are the different kind of things they observe, they are going to mention. For example, again in the screen you can see the task, that is one of the code. In that what they mention, it's searching for a feature, correct? Then in behavior, scroll ups and down, what kind of behavior the user was doing. And the emotion, they were looking the frustrated. And what they mentioned, that I can't find what I need. However, when we talk about the user part, that they click the search part while because they wanted to search something, and then they mention the open filter and changes the options because they want to minimize the options they got through the search. And then emotion, they were looking confused, and when we talk about that, the code is what is the option or what is the suitable option they can use to filter the all, what we can say, the search results they got. So these are the different things, whatever they are feeling, we are going to divide them in those particular codes: task, behavior, emotion, and the code what they really want and what they really facing. And in each and every code we are going to put their statements or put the observers statements in those particular codes, and based on again those codings we are able to come up with the particular root cause problem, what is the real problem which users are facing. And the last one is your insight statements, where the user needs a simpler way to find the information so they can complete tasks quickly and with the confidence. These, like, for example, when you're going or when you're buying something online, for example, Amazon, mostly each and every person is using Amazon nowadays, correct? So while we are going to buy any product, what is happening, we are going to see this feedback or the ratings of that particular product. So from that feedback, we are able to understand whether this particular product is working properly or not. Same wise, through the insight statements, the whatever the statements were given by the users while they were doing some kind of particular task, these will be considered, these will be written in a one place, and we are going to analyze those statements, and based on those statements we are going to club the information in a different themes, and what are the common problems they are facing, we will try to solve that particular problem. So these are the six major, you can say, the methods using that we can analyze the data which we collected through these particular four methods. So overall, when we talk about that, there are four data collection options we are like tools we are having: interviews, observations, and then FGD, and last one is your user persona. Then when we talk about the analysis method, affinity mapping, journey mapping, empathy mapping, wise analysis, observation code, and insight statements. So why we use the empathy research methods? It helps to designer to understand their user behaviors, needs, emotions, and the experience through the data collection techniques. And by using the analysis technique, they are able to give the meaningful solution in the design thinking process. Thank you.